I know, you see there is a big rock on the corner, right there. It's a reminder of events what we had in 1991. So some of you remember, I see, old enough to remember when the Soviet Union collapsed. So it was 19 August 1991. So those days in Moscow, it was a military coup. So they arrested Mikhail Gorbachev. I kept him for 3 days in his summer house in Crimea. So then in Moscow, this military coup, they said that ordered tanks to arrest the local government in all national republics, in all big cities. And Estonia was on major administrative sites like a parliament and a state councillor. It's all here on a hill. So people on that 19th of August, when tanks started to move, everybody was in the streets. And with the machine, of course, with the blocks like this road was barricaded. So it was a part of the barricades. So Herman is a watchtower of the castle. So castle was built here already in the 13th century. So that's when Crusaders, you know, probably already a bit of history of the Baltic countries. That's when the Crusaders came to Lithuania and Latvia, you know, with the cross and with the sword to baptize local pagans. Yeah, as it was those days. So and then on a place of Estonian wooden portrait, they built the castle. So it was a feudal castle portrait made from the stone, and that was a tower. The tower reached its height as a present day, so it's in the 14th century. So it's a tall Herman, it's about 50 meters tall. Yeah? And the tall Herman is like a symbol of Estonian power, so because it's a part of the main castle, and now here's the parliament, so it's really like a symbol of Estonian sovereignty. It's a tall Herman, it's a symbol. You see on the top of the tall Herman, today is not really windy, but believe me, there is Estonian flag. Yeah. So it's you'll see that later that it's a blue, black, and white flag, and every morning with the sunrise it's hoisted up. Yeah. And it's quite interesting that it's accompanied with the Estonian national anthem. And the Estonian national anthem built as the first church in Estonia by the Crusaders. So the Crusaders named Estonia as a land of Mary, the Virgin, and also named this church as Mary the Virgin Church. So sometimes we even refer to that church as a mother of all churches, because it was the first one here, yeah? The first one by the Crusaders in the 13th century. Because it was built and rebuilt many times in the history. In the 17th century it was a big fire that destroyed most of the part and interior of the church. And also later it was built the tower and the spire of that church. But still the main box is from the 13th century, and we call this style as a naked Gothic architecture. Naked Gothic, it means that if you've been to Paris, remember Notre Dame de Paris, so much different details, sculptures, you know, so it's really nicely decorated. But in Northern Europe, mostly it's all basic, it's all plain, so we call it naked Gothic. So you see there is not much, it's more like multifunctional, so it's also as a fortress, as a warehouse, as a church. So that was, for many centuries, it was a and also the big power station. So we dig it, it's stove.
With oil?
Well, it consists of 20% of this stone is oil. So if you can burn that stone. Yeah, it's called oil shell. Yeah, oil shell. Shame.
Ah, yeah. lake. Ganon? Yun na pala yun. Yun na yun.
But it means if we have a long leg, so it's quite logic that we have also a short leg. And short leg goes this way. So short leg is more for pedestrians, so it's quite steep stairs going down. So it's a bit twice shorter than long leg. So it's so before upper and lower down we have 2 streets.
From China or Japanese? Oh, hello.
Russian minority, it's about 35%, and all in Estonia it's about 28%. It's a bit smaller than in Latvia, but more than in Lithuania. So you see there is also a hotel on the left. It's Sokos Hotel Viro. So Sokos Hotel Viro was built in 1972 when Estonia was still part of the Soviet Union, and it was one of the most modern hotels in the Soviet Union. So for example, it was the first place where the jacuzzis were installed in the rooms. So it was really never seen before luxury in Soviet Union. And most of the techniques was produced in Finland, as it was also for Finnish tourists mostly designed. And some people joke in Tallinn that this hotel was built from a special material which is called microconcrete. Do you know what a microconcrete is? It's concrete with the microphones in it. So it's about when they started the renovation of this hotel, they found that about 60 rooms of that hotel was equipped with little bugs and microphones. So it's like in the movies about East German Stasi, secret police or KGB, how they try to listen to what the people are talking about inside of the rooms. So the hidden bugs in the ashtrays, in the glasses, on the mirror, under your bed, in the chairs. So that was on the last floor of this hotel. There was a special 2 rooms. It was a secret floor. It was KGB floor, and that's where the agents 24/7, basically day and night, was listening what the people are talking about inside of the rooms. But at the same time, this hotel was one of the most famous places of contraband and just a kind of black market, because through the foreigners, Estonians, and not only Estonians, in the whole Soviet Union, people could get some good things that wasn't possible to get in the Soviet Union, like jeans, like electronics, magazines, musics. Because imagine that in the Soviet Union it was all forbidden. You know, you couldn't get in a shop like Levi's jeans. For the Levi's jeans in the Soviet Union, you pay like 2 months' salary to get the Levi's jeans. Imagine that. So kind of and vinyl of some Beatles, you can get that half a salary for that, you know. So just rock music, and because rock music was also forbidden in the Soviet Union, so that's really different, quite bizarre things were forbidden in the Soviet Union. So and probably one of the most wanted jobs in Tallinn was be the bartender, but it's all I see still working on that. So, but mostly it's now quite prestigious area. So the price of real estate is quite high. It's quite more than the Tallinn average here, and most of the wooden architecture was built in the beginning of 20th century. So and also in the 1920s. But if we don't mention the price of
eucalyptus?
No.
Ayan.
Yeah.
Try this?
That's nice. Yeah.